Well, in horse racing terms, I guess you could say that the horses are all ready, they're assembling, they're at the gates, and they will soon be off.
No, they're off.
They're
They're at the
off.
home stretch.
Raymond, you're not even allowing me to introduce my program. Good evening, viewers. As we said before, the last few programs of Plain Talk would focus on the elections, and I would have as my guest Mr. Raymond Gaskin. Raymond, I want to be very focused on the issues. I think we need to help voters in terms of making their decisions. Let's start by the top. Now, these elections for a president, and regional elections as well. Give me a view about the presidential candidates. You've got Peter Prasad, you mentioned him.
Yeah, Peter Prasad, the people from Annandale, the Prasad family.
Kemraj Ramjatan.
Granger Ramjatan and Donna Ramatar.
Give me briefly.
Briefly.
How would you assess?
But I think there are three main parties in this race now. We have really, I think, Ramjatan and his colleagues have been able to create a viable third party for the first time since Peter de Geer in '61. I start with Ramjatan. Ramjatan, we know, he's an experienced parliamentarian. He's been around a long time. He's come from the PPP. He's an attorney by profession. He's the more youthful of all of the three of them, I think, in terms of age. Seems to be running a reasonably decent campaign.
Decent means competent or decent?
I would say both too.
Moral.
They're doing well. They appear to be reasonably well funded. All the parties appear to be well funded. The electors are bombarded day and night on the TV and print media all over by messages from the three parties. They're really bombarded whole day and night.
Let's get back to Kemraj.
And Kemraj, I think he's run a reasonable campaign, I would say that. And Raphael Trotman is his partner, and of course reinforced by Van West Charles, Nagamotu, Sesnarayan Singh, Cathy Hughes and Nigel Hughes. I think they have, in terms of a lineup, they have a lineup of professionals that is reasonably impressive.
They actually put 25 names
put 25
and persons
names
in a center spread.
In a center spread and call it the government ill-advisedly. But the top lineup of the top 10 people, I think, they have an impressive list of professionals they've put forward there.
PPP.
Well, we know the PPP. The PPP has run in government for 19, recent from 92, and even before then, and since 47, we know
What about their presidential candidate?
Presidential candidate is...
What's his track record?
His track record, essentially, he's a party man. He's an apparatchik. He's been working in the party and running the party from the 60s. His entire working life since
he has been running it from the 60s. He's been involved in
inside there, in the party organization. I met him, as I told you, in '67 at Gimpex. He was working in the part, one of the party, the commercial arm of the party. And he's been there ever since in Robb Street.
He's also run some organizations. He's a director of Gaisuco.
He's a director of Gaisuco from '92. He's been a director of OMI since '92. He was secretary of the board of directors of New Guyana Company Limited, which is a public company.
What was his performance in these organizations?
Well, at OMI, I don't know if he did anything. At Gaisuco, one would have to say he, together with the board, all of them collectively in the management, they are responsible for the fortunes or the misfortunes of Gaisuco since '92. Gaisuco has not performed well. Even this year now, we're told they're not going to meet the target.
They can't even meet their revised targets.
Again. I don't think they've ever met a revised target. At New Guyana, I don't think he did well. I don't think New Guyana Company ever held an annual meeting of shareholders or things of that nature. I don't think he understands the need for that. I don't think he understands the New Guyana Company is a public company under the Companies Act of 91.
Would you understand the Constitution?
I don't think they've read it. I don't think they've read it at all. No, I don't think so.
What about his team?
But as a person, he's a nice, friendly guy to talk to. He's very approachable. I find him quite approachable. He's a nice guy. He doesn't ooze arrogance. He doesn't display any arrogance like that of his president.
The greatest asset.
And he's a nice guy to get along with, I would say. He's come from the left wing of the party.
Is that what the country needs? Is that
What
sufficient?
this country needs now?
Is that sufficient to make an effective
What
president?
this country needs now is somebody who can deal with this economy. On the last program, we said that we're approaching a $60 billion deficit on the current. Somebody needs to deal with, first of all, the economy.
On the total, it wasn't only the
I think he's trained in economics at the UG. But what we need now, after 19 years of PPP, is somebody who can bring together, if they win, if, I use the subjunctive all the time because I don't know who's going to win, to bring together more people into government, into governance, because this country cannot be run by a party with 50%.
What about the team that
The team
is on their list?
The team is a team that's been around for a long time. The top people there would be Ramatar, Samuel Hines, Roger Luncheon,
Ashley Singh,
people in the
Robert
party,
Prasad,
Robert Prasad, Irfan Ali.
But that's some experience, isn't it?
They have some. Irfan Ali is a recent addition to the cabinet. Robert has been around some time. And then you have all the ex-ministers who are still running things in government, the Gail Teixeira, Collymore, Feroz, Pari Prasad, Naktaripo, and all those people around. And it is my considered opinion, if you were to win, you would get that whole crowd would be still around. And then, of course, the unknown is President Jagdeo, who's coming out soon. You don't know where he's going to be in this whole thing. But if you were to get that lineup there with Luncheon, Samuel Hines, Gail Teixeira, it means you wouldn't get any change, in my opinion.
Are you saying that we need some change?
Oh, we need a lot of change here. We need a lot of change in the economy. We need a lot of change in terms of being able to deal with some critical social problems like crime, the narco trade, corruption, equality, governance, marginalization, victimization, discrimination of the depressed communities. We need a lot of change in this place. I don't know if Donald can do it.
The APNU.
The APNU, we have Rup Narayan, who's been around for a long time, even since the days of Walter Rodney as a politician.
He's prime ministerial candidate, or not?
Prime ministerial, and then you have Granger, whose entire experience, more or less working experience, has been in the military, and he does come across as a military man to me. He's not a people-friendly guy, but I think he's intellectually oriented. He's not people-friendly somehow. It's not easy to get him to, when I see him how he operates. He's very stiff. He has a tendency to being aloof because I guess he comes from this officer corps of the GDF. You know, these officers have something about them, like, you know, like this field marshal man we have in the other place. And they're aloof from the rest. And that's what you have. Granger is a military man to the core, his whole training. And I suspect if he were to be given an opportunity, he would have a preference for military men too. People are so trained. He has shown it already by the choice of his people there. Collins, Felix, Harman, all military men. He likes to surround himself with military men. He has a lot of confidence in military men. If you're a civilian, I don't know if you can get any place much with him.
So you see
that's what you got.
You see that's the kind of government he might be tempted.
Oh yeah, a lot of discipline, but very little democracy. When Seymour wrote a letter to Stabrook a couple months ago, he said in the military there's no democracy. The military is not a place for democracy. The military is a place for discipline. You give the order, and the order is to be carried out by subordinates. That's military.
What about his team?
Oh, his team, which is Rup Narayan, who would say would be the top people there? Who were saying the
Basil
top
Williams.
Basil Williams, we know him from
Debbie Backer.
And Debbie Backer. We know them from the National Assembly.
Clarissa
a lot of lawyers
Reed,
there.
Lawrence, Amna Ali.
Not as impressive, in my opinion.
Not as impressive as
I would say the team that Ramjatan has put together with Nigel Hughes and Cathy Hughes and Sestan Singh and some Tarun Kemraj and someone, in terms of just prima facie looking at them. Although I think they're good people. Debbie Backer, Clarissa Reed, I've known for a long time. She's a professional woman.
Their programs. The APNU did come out with its
Eventually they
manifesto.
come out with a manifesto.
So we've had the PPP, we had the AFC that had an action plan that came out very early in the year. Give me your comparative analysis briefly. Of these.
Well, the PPP manifesto, I looked at it. I didn't study it because it is my opinion. The PP has to be judged on its record. So don't worry, read what they write. They can write anything.
In any case, they simply said that they will continue.
They knew what they've been doing. The AFC made a good effort at what they call an action plan, what they'll do in the first 100 days and the first year and the second year and all of that. More energetic and more focused. It's a very, in my opinion, they wrote in the book, it's private sector driven. There's a lot of scope in there for businessmen, local business, foreign investment.
That's true of all the major parties.
Yeah. All of them are singing from the same hymn book.
As far
from
as
the
the
same page, from the same page, from the same hymn book. Not only from the same book, from the same page.
You always come out with these religious things. You like the hymn book, don't you?
No,
but you also like to read Marx and Lenin.
When I used to go to Saints, we had to go to the cathedral every Friday to sing from the book.
You haven't forgotten that.
Well, some of it in those days we used to sing in Latin in those days, in the 50s.
So again, you take them. One of the they are all talking, or the two of them, the APNU and the AFC are talking
about private sector
about governance and constitutional reform. Even later, we've heard even the AFC coming out very strongly on constitutional reform.
Yeah, but in the
original action plan.
In the action plan itself, they're talking about reducing the powers of the president and tinkering with it, really. They've been tinkering with that institution for a long time
Haven't they clarified that, or have they changed their position, given what they've said about Mr. Nigel Hughes heading the constitutional reform
I'm not aware that they're of the view now that it ought to be abolished altogether. I haven't heard that from that categoric, definitive notion of abolition. I'm an abolitionist when it comes to that.
What about the APNU?
The APNU, I think, said they would have a committee, a Constitutional Reform Commission, to start dealing with reform. We know that the last time the All-Party Reform Commission dealt with the Constitution, they didn't do any real reform. They just fooled around, wasted a lot of time.
You and I have discussed a couple of articles. Indeed, up to this morning, just before this program, the only person who can impeach the president is not the National Assembly.
No, the members of his own party. 1-8 to 1.
Which that's impossible, because he can just fire them.
No, he can withdraw them because he has no confidence in them. If they have no confidence in him,
he can recall.
Yeah, he got no confidence in them. 1-8 to 1. Only the members of the ruling party can impeach the sitting president.
So 179 is absolute
1-8
nonsense.
to 1. It will never happen.
179 is absolute nonsense.
Which 179?
Which talks about removal of president.
No, the one let's see. Did I get a number right there? Did I get a number right there? I think.
You're talking about impeachment. I'm talking about removal.
Yeah.
179 is removal.
And 1-8 to 1 is the impeachment. It can't happen because you depend on the members of the ruling party.
If you take you take the three parties and look in terms of their commitment to enhancing and improving governance, where would you come down?
I don't think that the APNU, they have it in the action plan, but they have a centralist view of governance in this country, all of them. When they talk about partnerships, when they talk about working together, when they talk about power sharing, they're always talking about Georgetown, politicians in Georgetown getting together. They don't have a view of Guyana, a democratized Guyana. So a person living in Georgetown or Paramakatoy or Northwest or Charity or who's there would have the same kind of democratic right. They don't look at it like that. They're all centralist kind of people, the way they write about things.
If you, and I know you had